Just 0.5% of South Africans have been vaccinated so far. The rate is expected to pick up this month with more and more people outside the healthcare profession receiving a shot. But what happens to those who experience side effects, and whether they are mild or severe? Who's going to ultimately be responsible for that bill? That's one of the questions that we're going to answer in a moment. Let's speak to attorney Jean-Paul Rudd of Adams and Adams. Good evening, and thank you so much for your time tonight, Jean-Paul. Firstly, the issue of liability is part of what created the delay in signing those contracts between our government in particular and the pharmaceutical companies. At least that's what we've been told. From what we understand right now, has there been a clear process outlined for those who could potentially face side effects to be able to follow?
Yes, good evening to you and all the viewers. So basically, we've seen that Minister Dlamini Zuma has published regulations in terms of the Disaster Management Act, which would seem to grant the manufacturers, the pharmaceutical manufacturers, immunity against any actions South African citizens would institute following any sort of injury they sustain as a result of the administration of any vaccines.
And right now, we've also heard about a fund that is being established by the government that people might be able to claim from. As it stands, do we have any clear details of how that fund will work?
Yes, that is correct. So government have published draft regulations regarding a compensation scheme, which is there to compensate South Africans who might sustain injuries, vaccine-related injuries. So how the scheme is going to work in effect is that South Africans who might sustain side effects like blood clotting or severe reactions would need to follow the processes dictated by the scheme. So basically, there's an adjudication panel which consists of various medical experts who would assess any sort of claim. And then if a patient or claimant is not satisfied with the adjudication process, then they can take it on appeal. The compensation scheme provides for appeal procedure as well. And only then, should they then not be satisfied, then they could institute action against the government. And I emphasize the government because they cannot institute action against any of the manufacturers based on the compensation scheme, and then action could be instituted in a court of law in South Africa.
All right, let's leave it there for tonight. Thank you so much for your time. Attorney Jean-Paul Rudd there with law firm Adams and Adams. Well, one of the big stories